Hey everyone, it's Natalie, and I just had a few quick updates before we get to the meat of the episode and all the tolerating that we do here on To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. So, I hope that you've heard that we have a Patreon, and now we have added a goal to get 25 Patreon members supporting the show. Once that happens, I have some cool perks planned out to release. Spoiler alert, one of them is a pen pal program because I love mail and I love putting stickers on envelopes. So head to the link in the show notes, head to the Patreon, and consider joining us and all the fun we could be having. Also, every Tuesday on Instagram Live at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, we are partnering with Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous to bring you Still Comfy with Jules and Nat. It's a show where we're looking at our comfort TV shows and movies to see if they still make us feel warm and gooey on the inside. So check it out. And I can't wait to see you, whether it's on Patreon, Instagram, or in the DMs. Love you all. Thanks for being here. Hi, Fireside, and welcome to All the Men I've Tolerated Before Live. And thank you for joining us on Team Tolerator. Round of applause if it was sunny where you were at today, because it was really sunny for the first time in a while in Ohio. And just a little bit about me. When it was warm when I was a kid, my grandmother didn't let us turn on the oven, so I got to have ice cream for lunch. Because every time it's sunny, I get to have ice cream for at least one meal a day. I'm just vamping at this point. We're not talking about ice cream or sunshine today. We are actually going to have my first no scheduled guest. So if you want to be the guest of the episode, I'm going to remind you how to request to be on stage. In the lower left-hand corner of your phone, I do still have to do this to do my left and right. It's a kindergarten teacher thing. On the left-hand corner of your phone, there's this little sandwich button, and there should be an option for you to request to come on stage. If you're a little stage shy, that's fine. You can send me a message. To do that, you're going to head over to the right side of your phone screen, click the react button. You're going to send me a fun emoji and write me a message. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive on an episode that I did almost a year ago when I started To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. And we're going to do a deep dive on episode 4, which was a relationship diagnostic where me and my former co-host Dina talked about how we felt about being in a relationship once we had started this process of reflecting on our relationships. So now that it's been a year, I re-listened to that episode today, and now I realize that I'm still terrified of dating, and that's why this episode is called How Am I Supposed to Date? How the hell am I supposed to date, Fireside? We lived through a quarantine, and like COVID made interacting with people weird. Am I alone in that? Send me a round of applause if I'm not alone in that. Katie, you're so supportive. So I'm really hoping that through advice or commiserating or anything, you're going to help me answer the question, how the hell am I supposed to date? So let's get to tolerating. I'm going to go light first because this episode is going to get deep about some things that have changed about me. One of the reasons that I mostly don't want to date is because I hate dating apps. And I hate dating in 2022 where you have to use dating apps. For me, dating apps is too much like when I really feel like I need to purchase a thing So I add a bunch of things from different Etsy's in my cart, and then I walk away from it and never return to that cart. And that's what swiping feels like. Swiping feels like I look at you and I go, you look interesting. And I read your bio if you've done one. And then I go, yep. And I swipe on you to put you in my dating cart. And if you swipe on me and I'm in your dating cart, maybe I look at you again, or maybe I never open the app again. That's basically how I do dating apps. And part of my problem with dating apps is, how do you truly get to know someone through text messages alone? Now, it does remind me of when I was younger and catfishing people on AOL Messenger by lying about my age, sex, and location. So that's my other problem with dating apps. You get on them and then you're like, I don't know, is this real? Is this the Matrix? Is your name truly Bob? Do you like surfing? Or did you watch a surfing movie? You don't really know. I would like, if anyone has a thing that they've tolerated recently about dating apps, if they would like to complain with me, or if they would like to offer advice, type it, or offer to come up on stage. And while I'm vamping, so people have a chance to decide if they're going to come on stage, I did want to let you guys know that Penelope is joining us today. She loves Fireside. She loves recording these episodes, and she refuses to leave me alone now whenever our microphone is turned on. So here comes Katie. Katie, do you want to be on camera?
I mean, I will if you really want me to.
I just like looking at you.
Oh.
It makes me feel like I'm at home.
Oh my god, okay. I washed my hair this time, so.
Okay, well, I didn't wash my hair today. That's a Sunday, Thursday thing. I didn't wash my hair.
Hold on one second, it's connected. Hi, okay.
Give it up for Katie. She's one of my sister's best friends, and she shows up every week when I'm doing something.
Yeah, every other week.
Yeah, every other week. You show up when I'm doing things, and I don't get to see her until Memorial Day weekend when it's my sister's birthday. So
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Have you figured out how to turn on your video, or do I need to do it again?
Oh, I thought, I'm so stupid. The video connected on my end.
There you are. It's
okay.
That's
why I was like, hi, and I was like waving, and because like the camera was on for me, so I assumed it was on for you too. But
it's fine. Katie,
that's okay. That was my practice run, I guess.
That's fine. Katie, what's going on with you in dating apps lately?
Well, I actually recently got on Tinder again for like it has to be like the 27th time.
Proud of you and your bravery.
I don't know what else to do because like I work from home. So like I don't even know how many people work at the company I work at, let alone like meeting them. Because I mean, you know, as we get older and stuff, the people we are friends with and date are coworkers.
Right.
So, but that's not really an option.
No. I'm still holding out for my meet cute at a bookstore, but they keep shutting down the bookstores. So
find a meet cute like on the Amazon Kindle store or something. I don't know how it would happen, but
Katie, did you just come up with a new dating app where we match people based on their reading preferences?
Honestly, I don't think that would be such a bad thing.
It would be a wonderful idea.
Because like it saves me the trouble of like asking a dude if he likes to read romance novels and he like laughs about it or something, and then I'm like, okay, unmatch because I'm not in the mood. That's the only genre of books I read. So
no. Do you know how to code? Let's make an app. I don't know how to code. Do you know how to code?
I thought we
okay, if you know how to code, reach out to Katie and I. We have an idea for an app.
Or I live nearby Notre Dame. Like, there's a bunch of smart people who go to Notre Dame.
Yeah, just watch that camp. Like, walk the campus.
Yeah, I'll just troll the campus for a little coder boy or something.
Right, and scream things like HTML and hashtag. I don't know. I don't even know coding jargon. So have you had any luck lately on the dating apps?
it hasn't been too bad because I did change my age preferences to like older guys.
All right.
They tend to have better. But it sounds a bit like they will initiate a conversation. I found, but then like even because like I found like when I am sorry, I think my niece is on the other side of the door trying to. I could just hear like this banging over there. She's freaking me out. Anyway, so because with like sorry, now I've lost my train of thought because I thought I was
older guys.
But okay, so yeah, when I would have my age preferences like for dudes my age, I feel like they're just like collecting matches like Pokemon or something because they don't start a conversation.
There it is.
So I just like I don't know. So anyway,
they're doing what I do. They have the emotional intelligence that I do. You put them in a cart and then you never look at them again.
That's fair.
It was the thrill of the online shopping.
Yeah. So, like, older guys will message you first, but, like, I mean, even still, the conversation ends up fizzling out, and I don't know if it's the same, like you said, like, how do we build these relationships just by messaging each other?
Right. It just feels very shallow.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and I mean, like, it's not like I'm perfect when I'm swiping either. I swipe left on almost everybody.
Which for those of you who are lucky enough to get out of dating apps because you found a partner, swiping left means that you rejected them. Swiping right, you put them in your cart. Swiping left, never to be seen again. All right, Katie, are you okay with staying up here when I get into my next point, which is deep? Because I think it's one that you also connect to.
Yeah, I'll stay.
All right. My next deep, heartbreaking reason I'm terrified of dating again. I don't like the person I become when I'm dating someone.
Yep, me either.
Yeah. I don't like her. So here I am. I'm on Fireside. I run my own podcast, hold down a job, very confident, very bold, very colorful until I'm dating someone. This weekend I was at a bridal shower and they did that thing where they ask you to like write down advice for the bride. And I wrote down for my friend that I hope that every day of her marriage is a celebration of who she is as an individual. And then I like went deeper into that. And I never take that advice.
Well, we never take our own advice.
No. So. When I'm in a relationship, there is no celebrating who I am as an individual. I will literally just become like, who makes you the most comfortable? I will be that person.
Yeah, so you just become very like dating, I guess.
Yes.
That's weird for you. That like I can't. It's weird. Like knowing you, it's so strange to me that happens to you. To be honest.
Oh my gosh, I just remembered when the last time, what guy you were around the last time we hung out and I was in a relationship. And that was when it started. Yeah. Because that was my first serious relationship. And I immediately, well, first off, like I hadn't moved away from home. I was still very codependent. Therapy was not a thing in my realm. But I still hold on to some of those behaviors where I immediately become a people pleaser. And I immediately just want to be like the hostess for you during our relationship.
Yeah, I think that is actually similar, like for a lot of women. I mean, and this is, I'm getting a little heteronormative here. I can't speak to any other kind of relationship as of right now. But I think we, like, because we are, naturally caretakers. So yeah. I think that's just like a role we will slip into kind of unconsciously. And I mean, for me, I don't think that's my issue with dating. Like, I've become, and this is just like a consequence of like a bad past relationship, but I am like jealous and insecure and paranoid when I'm with somebody. And it's like, honestly, usually not even his fault. Like, it's somebody else's fault that it's lingered. And I haven't dated in a very long time because I'm like, I need to work on like rewiring this.
I am also that person. When you were in the room and I am being the hostess of our relationship for you and making sure that you're fed and that you've orgasmed and like you got to watch the football game. Ah, bliss. I'm so happy. The minute you walk out of my eye line, like out the door, like how dare you leave? I immediately go into like, he doesn't like me.
Yeah.
No one likes me. And he's shopping on Tinder. He's putting girls in his cart to try and replace me.
Check the time, and I'm like, who are you texting? Like, so bad, and I know it's bad.
It's
but
so
like
bad.
in the situation, I like black out emotionally until the relationship is over, and then I'm like, damn, who was that? Because
one of my friends in the audience is going to agree with this big time. Because of all of these things, and because I very much still carry this deep insecurity from when I was horrendous looking in high school and middle school, and I still feel like I'm lucky whenever someone wants to take me out on a date or spend time with me, have sex with me, any of it, even though I literally say the opposite to all of my other friends. Like in my head, there's some ugly whisper going, you're just lucky he even looked at you. It's sad.
Yeah.
I can't trust picking partners for myself anymore. I have a really bad picker.
I keep telling all my friends, I'm like, I can't do this on my own. This is now a team effort. This is a community thing, like activity. We're all going to do this because I can't do it on my own anymore.
I'm honestly hoping that I get to be on Married at First Sight. Like, I want a team of experts. It used to be Chris Harrison on The Bachelor season. I used to want Chris Harrison to just show up on my porch and be like, Natalie, I will fix this for you. I will guide you and I will affirm you.
That's what I want. I want the being the fixer. Like,
yeah.
We're saying, like, being the caretaker, being the fixer, or so someone else just do it. Because I just feel like at a loss half the time.
Right. And now Chris Harrison isn't enough. I need the whole Married at First Sight team. Are you familiar with the Married at First Sight team?
I haven't watched the show, but I mean, like, okay. I get the gist.
Well, I watched it all when we were in the shelter in place. Thank you, Stephanie, for all of your support for Married at First Sight. Please write them a letter that I deserve to be on it. So there's a team. You get like a therapist, a sex therapist, and a man of the Lord. And then you have to take like a personality test. And then you have to do like job interviews. Like, this is why I deserve to be a married person. And then they just like take headshots of you and they're like, all right, this one marries this one. And they just match you.
Do you think they just like put all the pictures in a hat and pull out two at a time? And
this last season I watched, yes.
Yeah.
This last season I watched, I was like, how do these people get matched? They phoned it in. They tried to justify it too because they knew that they were in trouble. And I was like, I don't believe one word that you've said, and this is why I have trust issues. Is there anyone else in the audience who doesn't like the person that they become when they're dating someone or in a new relationship with someone? You can write us a message. You can request to be on stage. Is there anyone? All right, here comes Jen.
Yes.
Jen, do you want to be on camera?
Can I be on just audio right now?
You sure can.
It would just require me moving my camera and just want to talk.
Yeah. Honestly, it was my dream that you would connect with this episode.
I've literally sent it to so many of my friends because so many of my friends are in this boat right now, and also I think some of them are in the audience. I don't want to call anybody out just in case, but so I wanted to say this because I have a friend who said this, and I like tell it to people all the time. But she was like, when I'm in a relationship, so this isn't me, this is a friend of mine, and I think she's a genius. She's like, I feel like I'm flying, like I can fly my plane, right? Like my plane's good, I fly my plane. As soon as somebody comes into the cockpit, all of the instruments like go haywire. Like it's just like, and I'm just like, I just want to fly my plane. And what I told, and I was like, there's definitely been times in my life where I've like fully agreed with that. And I'm like, yeah, I just like want to fly my plane. So shout out to Gina. She's the one who said that.
Thank you so much, Gina. I'm going to write that in my journal.
And so what I told her, and I'm in a relationship and have been in a healthy relationship for a long time. I just got married recently, actually. And I was like, thank you. I like to get the newlywed applause, you know?
Yeah. You did it.
What I said to my friend was like, you know what I actually realized about a good relationship is that like, yeah, like you can fly the plane and it's great, right? But I was like, but what I realized is that like a good relationship means that like somebody can come into the cockpit, and sorry for that I keep saying the word cockpit, but it is a funny word.
It is.
I'm like, somebody could come in and like help you fly the plane. What?
Mm-hmm. What?
You know, like somebody can like let you take a nap, you know? And like, so I wanted to share that because I just thought that like her analogy was like dead on.
No, it's so great.
Yeah, I just thought it's worth sharing, you know?
The analogy that I use with my friends and men who want to date me is that I use a house and I'm like, listen here, I've already built my foundation and then I slowly built my dream home. Except for my dream home is like missing the sunroom, like an addition. Like I would like a screened in porch, and I would like for you to be that addition to my house because
that's a great way to put it.
It's not going to fall apart without you, but it would be a nice place to read and relax. But then these people enter my life and they try to form a relationship with me, and it's like I forgot the code to my garage and I can no longer get in because I lost my house key.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Gil, did you want to be on camera or did you have something to add?
Hi there. Yeah, look, I'm older and I've been married twice. I've been in 2 really long-term relationships, like 15 years each. So both marriages lasted 15 years. And I think what I do is I sort of build a house, a home, a life, and I make it so that everything's perfect and wonderful. Mm-hmm. And then I fucking give up interest. You know, like it's like
I only laugh because I've been talking about a man from my past, and this is how I broke him. Like for 6 years, we did the slow burn, and then like I finally had him, and then I was like, I'm gonna move, and I think this is over, and like just broke.
It's the Gilded Cage. Yeah, it's the Gilded Cage, you know, like you build the perfect. It's like you're working towards it. As long as you're still working towards it, there's something tenuous there. But as you reach completion, that's the danger point. You know, like as long as there's a fucking project to keep you together, I think you're all right. But then, you know, like once the house is fucking perfect and everything's fucking hunky-dory and you're not broke on your ass, it's like, well, what is there? I have to leave and destroy my life. So it's like every 15 years I self-sabotage and start looking for, well, there must be something else I should fill my life with. So I think I'm a serial monogamist, but also self-sabotager when things look perfect. And it's always when they look perfect from the outside, you know? Like everyone will say, oh, what a lovely couple they are. They've this perfect marriage. Isn't their house beautiful? And now I've got children as well, so then that's the extra thing. It's like, so there's this perception of what a perfect fucking life, and inside you're dying because you want to escape from your cage. So that's my horrible, jaded, older woman take on life, and yeah, I don't know. I think I'm at a crux of, you know, what do you do? But now I'm past it as well, so I can't go on Tinder. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to fucking meet some horrible old man. So.
Me either.
So there's that.
So good news, I'm slowly falling for you because I love the way that your accent says fucking. And fuck is my favorite word.
Yeah, I say it all the time.
Listen, I love it. And I thank you so much for sharing. earlier we talked about writing advice for my friend who was getting married. Like they gave us like a card. They were like, write advice to the bride. And my friends are very young and they're like, we don't know. We are not qualified. And they just like took their little pencils and just like tap, tap, tap. And I was like, all right, I wrote something really sweet. So one of you needs to write that forever is long. And they're like, Natalie. I was like, you do. Someone has to write down like, hey, just so you know, forever's long. Like just. And then I told my friends because they all wanted to make fun of me. I was like, listen, here's time for Natalie's fake take on history. It was like when marriage was an institution, people were dying at the age of 35. You were married for at most 15 years. Now, I was talking to a coworker today. I was like, people live until 80, till 90.
Sure.
And every 7 years, I reinvent myself. And how do you know you're going to love me through my Stevie Nicks phase and my like Nora Roberts phase? Like, I don't know. They're two completely different phases.
I agree completely. I think it's unrealistic to expect you to be the same bitch at 30, 40, and 50 and 60. You know, it's like, I'm a different horror each decade, you know. Like, I reinvent myself and I find some new stupid hobby to be obsessed about. And also, you look different each decade, so it's the physical thing and the mental thing. So there's no way anyone can keep up with me. You know, like it's like shifting sands. You could never anticipate what horrible person I will become next. So
listen, my body also makes new noises every 5 years. We were joking at the bridal shower. We were walking up the steps, and my friend went, "Oh, you guys all get to hear the sound of my knees." And I went, "Those are my knees. That's that click clacky sound. That's how you know I'm entering the room. If I have to do stairs or walk anywhere that's a distance." So
I am powered by arthritis. I get that. Yeah, it's I do think that married at first sight thing is bizarre and ridiculous and
but it's my only shot.
But also, do you know what? It's as much chance as working as fucking anything. Because
that's right.
Like honestly, it's like throwing dice. I mean, who fucking knows what makes for any relationship to last? And do you want them to last forever? I'm not sure I fucking do. No, like, I think they should have an expiry date. Like, they just run out and then you're like, all right, that was great. I enjoyed it. On at the next one. So that's what I think. I think you should have a 15-year clause that says after 15 years, you can just move on another one without it being a drama. You know, without you looking like a failure. That's what I think.
I want to be your best friend. Is it too soon? I do that. But we're going to move on to segment 2. Feel free to stick around because maybe you'll have something to say about this too. But Natalie tolerates and then she grows. Recently, I had to spend a very long time with myself. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the shelter in place, and all the events that followed, I was unemployed. And I live alone with a cat, and she's great. She left. But she's not great at conversation, and it's really her only flaw. So as I learned more about myself, I started exploring what it means to be on the spectrum of sexuality. And what I figured out is through TikTok, of all places. I think that's where we all just started learning things about ourselves that we hadn't considered, because TikTok just like puts you on a track and you're like, I didn't really know that I needed to be on mushroom foraging TikTok, but here I am. And now I'm interested. But through TikTok and reading A Guide to Gender, I started to explore where I fit in the spectrum of sexuality. And what I came to realize is that there's a term for how I feel. And that term is Demisexuality. Demisexuality. Am I saying it right? Because
I always say, you know what? It's funny. I always say demisexual, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it out loud. So I read it, and so now I'm not sure what this is right.
I'll type it into TikTok later and then send you one where someone says it, and we'll compare notes. But basically, the gist of that is that instead of getting all hot and heavy for you because you are a very attractive person or like a conventionally attractive person, like, don't get me wrong, I still have a thing for Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
but, oh my God.
Matthew McConaughey transcends sexuality. We're all attracted.
That's what you said about Woody Harrelson, which is true.
That's what I said about who?
Woody Harrelson.
Come on. I think there's a certain subset of people who is just doesn't matter. We're all to them.
We'll come up with a list. It'll be our homework for the episode, and you all can follow me on Instagram and send me your list. This is Natalie Katona, host of the podcast To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. Are you a business owner that would like to start advertising on podcasts and want to work one-on-one with the podcast host to craft the perfect message for your business on an episode? Well, you're in luck. I'm a one-woman operation, and I have ad space open on future episodes of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. If you are interested in learning more about booking an ad with our show, please email me at menI'veToleratedBefore@gmail.com. Thanks, and I can't wait for our future collaborations. So what I figured out was I am more connected to people's personalities. That is how I find myself in relationships with people. They make me laugh like 5 times. And then they tell me something like, Natalie, I've always admired you for being so bold and independent. Melt. It's all that I need. You can look like anything. And I've dated like one type of person, but I've been interested in multiple types of people. And it really started to hit me when I stopped having sex dreams and instead I had what I called intimacy dreams. Like, you helped me unload the dishwasher and then like we touched arms.
I had a dream that I think if I were a sexual person, it would have been a sex dream, but instead it was just a dream where Ben Barnes was holding my hand and we were like taking a walk around my hometown. It was romantic.
I love to wake up from
I was so disappointed. I was devastated.
I love to wake up from a cuddling dream and just rearrange my pillows around me like it's still happening. No, it's fine.
I have an ongoing fantasy that Tom Hardy cleans my fridge, and I just sit and watch him, and there's no sex in it at all. There's just because he does a really good job of it, and he takes out the vegetable drawers and he gets all the scum out the bottom, and then he throws out the discarded vegetables without judging me, and that's my Tom Hardy sex dream. There's no sex.
Excuse me as I look off into the distance and completely disassociate so I can also lose myself in that fantasy. Oh, wait. My show.
And there's no judgment. He doesn't give me grief for the half-eaten thing. You know, that's part of the fantasy, is that he's a non-judgmental fuck, you know, like, and he might be in skimpy clothes. That's the only ode to sexuality in it. He's because it's quite a big job to clean the fridge, so he obviously strips down maybe to shorts and a t-shirt, but there is no sex in it. It's household tasks. That's what I fantasize about.
Woody Harrelson would never ask me while he was cleaning out my fridge if that was a bite mark out of the cookie dough log, because he knew that it was.
He would also take a bite out of it, I think.
And the rotten vegetables, you see, that's the kick for me, is the fact that Tom Hardy in no way judges me for the fact that I buy vegetables and don't fucking eat them. I just let them decompose in my fridge. And because that makes me feel like I'm healthier. That makes me feel like I could be a good person and not a chubby bastard.
In the house, so close enough.
I have a bag of cuties downstairs, those little oranges, and I know that in order, and I bought them last week, I know in order to finish a bag of cuties before they're not viable fruit, I have to eat 3 cuties a day. Like, that is the plight of the single woman who wanted fruit. I haven't opened the bag.
Too much. Like, because I'll buy, like, spinach with every intention of using it, like, when I cook. And then I'll use it once, and then I, like, forget about it, or I'm just, like, I just don't have the emotional capacity to eat an entire box. It's like a box of spinach. I'm like, I don't have a family. It's just me. Why are these?
And what would your shit look like? You know, what would your shit look like if you did eat that box of spinach? I mean, that's what you have to ask yourself. You're not doing anyone any favors by trying to be fucking healthy. You should just buy the spinach and put it straight in the bin, and then bypass the guilt.
And then take a bite out of your cookie dough
and then
while watching a Matthew McConaughey movie.
I love that. Love it.
Oh, I'm obsessed with all of the ways that this episode is going. But there was a second part to my announcement. So when I sat down and I started to think that all I wanted out of a relationship was to feel safe and to feel comfortable being myself and to have emotional and mental intimacy, and that is how the relationship grew, I thought about all of the people that I had achieved that with. It was none of my exes, spoiler alert, but it was all women. And then I realized that I love women and I love spending time with women, and I never feel better than when I am in a group of women and we're all supportive. And like, one of the only things I believe in is the power of women. So then over the weekend, I started to slowly tell my friends, I was like, hello, it's me, Natalie, your friend who runs to all the men I've tolerated before. I think my next step, because I am demisexual, is to broaden the categories of humans that I will date and include women and people who are truly in touch with their feminine energy. And when my friends didn't get it, I said, do you remember how I'm attracted to David Bowie because he wears eyeliner? It's like that. But I want to date women who wear eyeliner. And they were like, oh, first they thought I was doing a bit. They really thought that I was joking. Like, one of them used the term, like, I can't tell. Are you doing a shtick, or are you like trying to connect with us and say a thing? I was like, no, I'm serious. I've been slowly telling my family. Members of my family keep telling me how sad they are. But for the most part, this is my new path. My new path is I'm done listening to the voices in my head that tell me that this is what a relationship, a marriage, and everything looks like. And I'm rewriting all of the internalized homophobia and bias that I have in my brain, and all of the anxiety that I have of like rocking the boat by being more queer or embracing my queerness. And this is what I'm doing. Katie, were you worried about like rocking the boat? Like, did you have that anxiety?
You know what? I guess journey to figuring out my sexuality, it was messy and complicated because I guess I just didn't really obviously I didn't understand what I was feeling. I always thought I was just straight. And I don't need, now, like, I just say I'm demisexual, and it is kind of hard when I get in conversations with people about it, because a lot of people are like, okay, but who are you attracted to? And I'm like, that's not really how it works. That's not how demisexuality works.
I have to meet them, and then I know.
We'll see.
Or I'm tricked.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
But I don't know. I feel like for me it was more of an internal battle than, like, I don't think I ever really worried about how other people would think about it. It was more about how it made me feel. Mm-hmm. And also, like, too, I struggled to label myself for a long time because I, like, would then feel really confined by the label. Okay. So you know, if I veered off that path, I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not this after all. But
Right.
like for me, sexuality exists on a spectrum, so sometimes I'm gonna slide, you know, along that scale.
Some days I'm really into Matthew McConaughey. Some days it's Natalie Dormer. Have you ever watched Natalie Dormer smirk?
Yes. Sometimes I just look up GIFs of Natalie Dormer smirking.
Well, start sending them to me.
Oh, okay, I will.
Yeah. I battled with imposter syndrome too. And again, if you're connecting with this, if you've had a growth part and like I didn't like the way that I dated, and then I sat down with myself, maybe during a quarantine, maybe earlier at a lunch with yourself, and you would like to talk about a way that you grew in confidence about, yes, this is the way I need to be dating, hit that mic button, hit me a message. This is as much your show as it is my show. So I do struggle with the imposter syndrome. Like there's a lot of like, again, the ugly whispers in my head. You're doing this for attention. You're doing this because you're burnt out. You're doing this.
When you identify on the asexual spectrum, especially, and demisexuality is part of that spectrum, a lot of people will accuse you of doing it for attention. And that's definitely one of the like biases that asexual people have to deal with, and that is just very frustrating. Because I'm just like, you know what? Like, if someone says that to me, I'm like, well, you don't have to worry about it because I'm never going to be attracted to you because you have a terrible personality. So, it's really frustrating.
I'm mostly surprised that I also fit on the asexual side of things because I very much use my sexuality to propel relationships, to help me feel more secure, which is my internalized trauma. But I can go literally long stretches of time. Like I've never been like a person who could hit a club, meet a person that night, and then immediately want to have sex with them. Like go long stretches of time because I do go through long stretches of time recovering from my relationships with like not even thinking of anyone sexually. And then when I think about the way that I'm attracted to people, it's always more about like, well, I noticed this about them and we have this connection. And these are all of the ways that they make me feel secure in my personality, or they make me laugh, or things like that. So that's something I'm going to have to ponder. And then probably have imposter syndrome over.
I think it's always a journey. And the imposter syndrome is gonna. I will say I've gotten over that part of it. I don't really care anymore. I'm just like, this is who I am, and that's it. So like, I don't really have those intrusive thoughts anymore. I think like the longer you sit with your sexuality and become more comfortable with it, and depending on your support system and a lot of other factors too, I think eventually that goes away.
Yeah. Right now, I'm terrified of starting the new thing. I don't know if anyone else has this like fun little quirk, but when tasked with starting a new thing, whether it be a relationship, figuring out a new process on this podcast, feeding the cat wet food, and turning off the TV, I believe that everything takes 22 years, and you cannot convince me otherwise. So my brain will literally be like, you don't want to do that. You're overwhelmed and it's so much work.
It's going to take 22 years.
And it'll take 22 years. And then I have to like sit there and like break it into chunks in my head. And I'm like, this doesn't have to take 22 years. Like you can just like, I don't know, change your shit on Hinge. And you can just like, Hinge will let you put demisexual. And like just add
you can
everyone.
Do it on Tinder too. You can put your sexuality on Tinder as well.
I've never done Tinder, but maybe I'll look at it. I will look at it.
I'm gonna tell you,
frightens me.
I get it, but like it has that, like as someone who's been on it 27 times, it has vastly improved. Like if I get a creepy message from a dude, which does happen, Tinder like will flag those like certain language, and then you'll get an automated message from Tinder be like, hey, this user looks like they're using language that might make you uncomfortable. Do you want to report? And I'm like, that's cool.
When did Tinder become a safe place?
I'm telling you, it's nuts, but like I love it. I'm just like, Tinder's like that, like your dude friend at the bar who comes up and is like, hey, is this guy bothering you? That's what it's
usually
like
me
now.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I won't start a Tinder tonight because I hate starting new things. I will instead.
Take you 20 years to start a Tinder.
It'll take me 22 years to fill out all the prompts. Instead, I will just visualize all of the pictures I could use on Tinder. And then 2 weeks from now, I will text you and be like, look, I'm on Tinder.
Yeah.
But it's very much playing into this new like insecurity where it's like, oh my gosh, you're going to build your dating playground from the ground up. And then you're going to have to tell people, which is a Capricorn's nightmare. Oh, I've never done this before. I don't have to tell people that I haven't done anything before. Like Taylor Tomlinson has a great bit. It might be on this special. It might be on her first special. But she has a great bit where she says that one of the reasons that she doesn't date women is she doesn't want to be bad at something new. And I'm like, ooh, I feel that.
But I mean, it's true of any relationship like that you start where like you're gonna have to talk about. There's always gonna be something there to talk about, and I mean, women, we are notoriously more patient because we have to be. So, I think like you meet the right person to try stuff with.
That's right. I've never been a very good experimenter because in my relationships, I take a very passive role. So we get to do whatever you want to do. And then I tell you I like it despite what I feel.
Great. Yes.
Put me on a sticker for healthy relationships. I dare you. All right. This has been great. This has been healing. I'm ready to move into manifesting because now's the time, and start thinking of yours now because I want us all to use the collective energy and positivity that we have crafted on Fireside and onto all of the men I've tolerated before to help us get what we want. Because that's all I want for everyone. So for my manifestation, I am going to hold myself accountable because Capricorns love to do that for actually exploring new avenues for romance and what makes a loving partner in my life. So it started over this weekend by slowly telling people. And then like last night, I sat at home alone by myself and started changing things on dating apps. We're doing it. We're gonna try to swipe on people. Just so you know, I'm in the Midwest. I currently live in an area, and then my headspace because of the area I live in, where I wasn't pushed, affirmed, suggested, told that exploring and experimenting was actually how you figured out what you enjoy in bed and what you enjoy in your heart. So I have to like rewrite all of that. So I also manifest that I can rewrite the beliefs imprinted in my head about what love and romance needs to be so I can find what is going to make me happy. It makes me feel very gross that I love the word imprinted because of Twilight. Twilight ruined it for me.
You gotta take the word back, okay? Keep using it.
He was a werewolf who was in love with a baby.
Yeah, well, we don't, that's a whole other episode of this show. We gotta move it along. I can't do that stuff.
Katie, are you my producer? Did you all just see how Katie seamlessly went, we're not going on that tangent. No one has time for werewolves and vampires right now. This isn't about Stephanie Meyer's trauma. It's about yours. Katie, do you have anything?
We gotta get an earpiece for you, and like every show, I'm just gonna be like, even if I'm not on screen or something, I'll be in your ear, be like, Natalie, no.
The person who is supposed to be my future manager is in the audience right now, just letting me talk about vampires being in love with babies. I see you. I see you. Do you have anything that you would like to manifest while people are thinking if they have things that they want to manifest? This is also the part, I like to call it free space, where you can just ask me a question or tell me something that you connected with in the episode. Also, I kept forgetting to ask for dating advice. That was the second question to all three parts. Like, does anyone have any question or advice for me? Type it or hit that microphone while I put Katie on the spot to do her manifestation.
Man, I always know I know you do the manifestations and I know you're going to ask, but then I just spend my whole week in a fog.
Not hoping.
Yeah. And just a perpetual state of hopelessness. No, you know what? Okay, this week, this isn't super deep, but I'm going to finish my fucking work projects, and then I'm going to rewrite this sex scene for my next book that I have been thinking about rewriting, but then I just lay in bed and watch The Office reruns. So, not this week. I'm going to try to keep the TV off until Friday when Bridgerton airs.
I'm not allowed to turn on the TV until it is nighttime. Because
see, the problem was, with my sleep schedule, I don't wake up till 5 p.m. And then I'm like, oh, the day's over. And then I start watching TV. I'm like, bitch, your day just started. So,
okay, well, I manifest
for the week is that I'm productive.
I also manifest for you that, like, you attempt sleeping.
Sleeping like a regular person, at least. Yeah, no, I am going to try because this is not working.
I do appreciate all of your support. I appreciate everyone who showed up in the studio. I appreciate everyone who's going to listen to the replay and or share the replay. Oh my gosh, this is like one of the most populated audiences we've had. I feel very excited. I feel like I'm on the right track. This has been very affirming. I will be writing it in my main character energy journal. Yes, I threw away my gratitude journal because gratitude in the time of COVID is hard. And I instead went, I'm going to write down every day how I was the main character of the day. I am the main character. Another thing I got on TikTok. Can't wait for them to sponsor me. So if you would like to find other episodes, like if you want to listen to episode 4 of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before and see how I've changed, or maybe you'll connect with something in that check-in that I did with myself about relationships, there's my lovely link tree in the fortune cookie. That will take you to our Instagram, our email. It'll take you to how you can get to Spotify, Apple, and all of the episodes. We do Fireside every other Monday. Katie's our actual guest in 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about romance novels because Katie writes romance novels. And we are going to, I have to get on dating apps now because we're going to be taking people from dating apps and crafting what their romance novel tropes would be and how their plot would go. I'm very excited for it.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to do a little improv. We're going to be maybe judgy. We're going to write a movie. I'm very excited. Yeah. And this week last week on Thursday, we released an episode of the podcast that was about nursing. It's called Backstage of Nursing During a Pandemic. And this week, we are releasing an episode with Remy Casimir, who is a comedian out of New York, and she runs the How Come podcast. And her and I will be talking about all of the ways that I failed to ask my partners, hey, can I have fun in bed too? So it's a great episode. She also helped me out with things that I talked about today. So it's a great follow-up piece to what we talked about today because I disclosed to her a lot of stuff and she tried to help me out. So I am going to put Waitbot back on, our good friend Jazzy Waitbot. And then thank you so much for coming. Please make sure to connect with me on Instagram at any time and have a great Monday night.